Force and pressure. In class 7th, you have learned how objects move. Do you recall how can decided whether an object moving faster than the other? What does the distance moved when an object and in a unit time indicate? You also know that a moving object like a ball rolling on the ground slow down. Sometimes it may change its direction of motion. It is also possible that the ball may slow down and also change its direction. Have you ever wondered what makes an object slow down or go faster or change its direction of motion? Let us recall some of our everyday experience. What do you do make a football move? What do you do make moving ball move faster? How does a goalkeeper stop a ball? A hockey player changes the direction of the moving ball with a flick of the stick. How the fielders stop a ball hit by batsmen. In all these situations, the ball is either made to move faster or slower, or its direction of moving motion is changed. We often say that a force has been applied on a ball when it is a kicked, pushed, thrown, flicked. What is a force? What can it do? It bodies on which it is applied. We shall seek answer to such a question in this chapter. Force, a push or pull. Action like picking, opening, shutting, kicking, heighting, lifting, pushing, putting are often used to describe certain takes. Each of these action or usually result in some kind of change in the state of motion of an object. Can these terms be replaced with one or more terms? Let us find out. Table 8.1 gives some example of familiar situation involving motion or object. You can add more such situation or replace those given here. Try to identify one example has been given to play you. Description of situation: action, pushing, pulling, picking, hunting, lifting, lowering. Do you notice that each of action can be grouped as a pull or push or both? Can you we infer from this that to move an object it has to be pushed or pulled? In science, or push or pull on an object is called a force. Thus we can say that the motion imparted to object be due to the action of force. When does a force come into play? Let us find out. I learned in class 6 that a magnet attracts a piece of iron towards its attraction also pull. What about repulsion between similar pulse of two magnets? It is a pulse or push. Force are due to an interaction. Suppose a man is standing behind a stationary car. Will the car move due to the presence of suppose man now begin to push the car? That is applies a force on it. The car may begin to move in the a man standing behind a standing car. Direction of the applied force: note that the man has to push the car to make it move. Shows three situations that may be familiar to. Can you decide who is pulling and who is pushing? This case in a figure, both the girls appear to push each other while the pair of girls in fig are trying to pull each other. Similarly, the cow and the man pull each other. The girls in the two situations shown here are apply force one each other. It is also true for the man and the cow. For this example, we can infer that at least two objects must interact for a force to come into play. Thus, an interaction of one object with another object result in a force between two objects. Exploring force. Let us try to learn more about force. Rope in their direction. Sometimes the rope simply does not move. It is not similar to the situation shown. The team that pulls harder, that is, applies a larger force, finally win the game. What do these examples suggest about the nature of force? Force applied to an object in the same direction add to one another. Now recall what happened when you and your friend pushed the heavy box in the same direction in activity 8.2. If the two forces act, it is a possible direction on an object. The net forcing acting on it is the difference between the two forces. What did you observe in activity 8.2? When both of you were pushing the heavy box from opposite direction. Recall that in the Dukes of War, when two teams pull equally hard to the rope, does not move in any direction. So we learn that a force could be larger or smaller than others or equal to each other. The strength of force is usually expressed by the magnitude. We have also to specify the direction in which a force acts. Also, if the direction, the magnitude of applied force change, its effect also change. Have you ever seen a game of tug of war? In the game, two pulls at a rope in the opposite direction. Members of both them try to pull the. In general, more than one force may be acting on an object. However, effect on the object is due to the net force acting on. A force can change the state of motion. Let us now find out what happened when a force acts as an object. You might recall similar situation. For example, while taking a penalty kick. In football, the player applies a force on the ball. Before being hit, the ball was at a rest, and so its speed was zero. The applied force makes the ball move towards the goal. Suppose the goalkeeper dives or jumps up to save the goals. By his action, the goalkeeper tries to apply a force on the moving a ball. The force applied by the him can stop or deflect the ball, saving a goal being a scored. If the goalkeeper succeed in stopping ball, its speed decreases to zero. This observation suggests that a force applied on an object may change its speed. It is a force applied on the object. It is the direction of its motion. The speed of the object increases if the force is applied in the direction opposite to the direction of motion. Then it results in a decrease in the speed of the object. I have seen children competing with one another is moving a rubber tire ring by pushing it. I now understand why the speed of tire increase whenever it is a push. Paheli is curious to know whether applications of force can only change the speed of an object. Let us find out. Let us consider some more examples in a game of volleyball. Players often push the moving ball their teammates to make a winning move. Sometimes the ball is returned to the other side of the court by pushing or smashing it. In cricket, a batsman hits her shoot by the applying a force on the ball with the bats. Is there any changes in the direction of motion of the ball? In this case, in all these examples, the speed and direction of the moving ball change due to the applications of force. Can you give a few more examples of this kind? A change in either the speed of object or its direction of motion or both. It described as a change in its state of motion. Thus, a force may bring a change in the state of motion of an object. State of motion. The state of motion of an object is described by its speed and the direction of motion. The state of rest is considered to be the state of zero speed. And as an object may be the rest or the motion, both are its state of motion. Does it mean that the application of force would always result in the change in the state of motion of the object? Let us find out. It is a common experience that many times application of force does not result in change in the state of motion. For example, a heavy box may not move at all even if you apply to maximum force that you can exert again. No effort or to force is observed when you try to push a wall. Force can change the shape of an object. Some situations have been given a column 1 and table 2 8.8 which objects are not free to move. Column 2 table suggests the manners in which a force can be applied on each object while column 3 shows diagram of the action. Try to observe the effect of force in as many situations as possible. You can also add a similar situation using available material from your environment. Note your observation in column 4 and 5 table. What do you conclude from the observation noted table 8.2? What happened when you apply a force on inflated balloon by the pressing it between your palms? What happened to the shape of ball of the when it a roll to make a chapati? What happens when you press a rubber ball placed on table? In all these examples, you show that the application of force on an object may change its shape. Having performed all the above activities, you would have realized that a force may make an object move from the rest, may change the speed of an object it is a moving, may change the direction of motion of an object, may bring about a change in the shape of an object, may cause some or all these effects. While a force may cause one or more of these effects, it is important to remember that once none of these actions can take place without the action of a force. Thus, an object cannot move by itself, it cannot change speed by itself, it cannot change direction by itself, and its shapes cannot change by itself. Contact force, muscular force. Can you push or lift a book laying on a table without touching it? Can you lift a bucket of water without holding it? Generally, to apply the force on an object, your body has to be in a contact with the object. The contact may also be with the help of stick or piece of rope. When we push an object like a school bag or lift a bucket of water, where does the force come from? This force is caused by the action of muscles in our body. The force resulting to the action of muscle is known as a muscular force. It is a muscular force that enables us to perform all activities involving movement or bending of our body. In class 7th, you have learned that in the process of digestion, the food get pushed through the alimentary canal. Could it be a muscular force that does? You also know that lungs expand and contract while we inhale and exhale air. During breathing, where are these muscles located which make breathing possible? Can you list a few more examples of the force exerted by the muscles in our body? Animals Animals also make use of muscular force to carry out their physical activities and other tasks. Animals like bulls, horse, donkey, and camel are used to perform various tasks from us. In performing these tasks, they use a muscular force. Since muscular force can be applied only when it is a contact with an object, it is also called contact force. Are there other type of contact force? Let us find out. Friction. Recall some of your experience. A ball rolling along the ground gradually slow down and finally come to the rest. When we stop pedaling a bicycle, it gradually slow down and finally come to a stop. A car or scooter also comes to the rest once its engine is switched off.